Okay, you're welcome back once again. My name is Victor Digomo here. And, in our class today, it's important for us to know the difference between significant figures and decimal places. In an example like this, in which you are giving this expression, perhaps this is the answer you have obtained in solving the question. Okay, this is the answer you obtain after solving a particular problem. You got this, and the final statement says put it to three significant figures. Anytime you come across that idea, significant figures, it simply means start counting. It's an approximation method. You start counting from the first non-zero digit. You start counting from the first non-zero digit. So if you look at this now, okay, this is the first non-zero digit. You count 1, 2, 3. Then the next thing you do, count 1, 2, 3. Look at this. You check if it is half of 10 and above. Of course, this is 7. So it is above 5. It is above 5. So since it is above 5, we are going to call it 1 and then add it to this 9. So when we do that now, we are going to have 0.003. Okay, look at what is going on here. If I call this 1, if I call this 1 and add it here, this is 10. So obviously, you're going to write 0, carry 1 and put it here, and then this becomes 6. So you have 6, 0. Do we get? So this is just the approximation of this number to three significant figures. Also, we might need to know the difference between significant figures and decimal places. In the case of decimal places, you start counting from the digits immediately after the decimal point. The digits immediately after the decimal point, whether it is 0 or it is non-zero, whether it is 0 or it is non-zero, you start counting from the digits immediately after the decimal point. So you realize that here, assuming I am requested to put this figure, which is a result I have obtained after my calculation. I'm requested to put it in maybe three decimal places, three places of decimal. You start from here and count 1, 2. So if I have 0.003, 3, 5, 9, and 7, and I want to put it to three places of decimal, this will be 1, 2, 3. Okay, so the next digit here is 5, and for the next digit being 5 and above, you call it 1 and add it to the subsequent. So you realize that this is 1, 2, 3. I'll call this 1 and add it here. So this is 0.004. Okay, to three places of decimal. Three places of decimal. So this is how to put. Because the first question here says express correct to three significant figures, but I'm just trying to use the same figure to explain how we can put it in places of decimal, because one needs to know the difference between. Sometimes students have issues trying to understand the difference between decimal places and significant figures. We count from the first non-zero digit. The first non-zero digit here is 3. We start counting from the first non-zero digit. The first non-zero digit here is 3. We start counting from there. And we count 3. We count 1, 2, 3. What next? We now check if the digit after that count is 5 and above. If it is 5 and above, we call it 1. But if it is not 5 and above, we round it off. That is to say, if I count 1, 2, 3, this digit here is 7. It is above 5. I'll call it 1 and add it here. Of course, if I add it to that 9, it will be 10. So I will have 0.003. If I add 1 here, it will become what? 10. So I'll write 0, carry 1, put it here. So this will be 360. 360. I'm sure that explanation is very clear. If I compare this now, to decimal places, you realize that in the case of decimal places, you start counting from immediately after the decimal point. Immediately after the decimal point. So immediately after the decimal point, if I am to put this now 0.003597 to three places of decimal. I'll start counting from here. 1, 2, 3. Then this is 5 and above. It's 5 and above, so I'm going to call it what? 1. I'll add it here. So the result will be 0.004 to three places of decimal. Let me explain again. If this is something like 0.00331, say 317, and I'm to take it to three places of decimal, you realize that if I count 1, 2, 3, this is not up to half of 10. So I'm going to round off. So the result finally will now be 0.003. So I want to draw a line between decimal places and significant figures. You realize that in the case of decimal places, you start counting from what? The first digit after the decimal point. But in the case of significant figures, you start counting from the first non-zero digit. I'm just trying to explain this thing, believing that the person who is watching this is meeting this for the first time. So I don't want to go on assumption that this is so simple and this is so that. So I am sure that is taken.